Hello, my friends, and welcome to another RobCast. And we are here in our kitchen, and I am here with the #1 raw vegan chocolatier in the world, Amy Levin. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Do people often describe you as the #1 raw vegan chocolatier?
No, that's the first time. That's a lot of words. It's usually the world's leading raw chocolatier.
Oh, the world's leading
Raw chocolatier.
raw chocolatier.
Correct.
Do you have competition? Is there how many raw chocolatiers?
There are some. There are. Yeah.
Okay, so let's establish what we're dealing with. If I'm like on a road trip with the family,
Yeah.
and we stop at a gas station, and there's like a little shelf next to the cash register, and it's like Kit Kats and Rolos.
You need
That's
to go to a new gas station. That's what I'm saying.
So we're not talking about that.
No, we're not talking about that. So we're talking about taking that and, well, in a lot of cases, we're talking about taking those fundamental candy bars that everybody knows and loves and making them so that they're healthy.
Healthy.
Which you can do, which is what I do and teach people to do.
So when I was at your place in London, your flat kitchen was like set up like a school almost, like a
Yeah.
and people come from all over the world to London so that you can teach them how to make this stuff.
Correctamundo.
And what are people looking for when they come to learn raw chocolate?
On the surface, what they're looking for is to learn how to make chocolate because they've toyed around with it for a while in their kitchen, or they've read this book or that book and tried these recipes and they really dig it, or they've been doing it for 5 years and now they kind of want to go next level with it, which is generally what happens. So that's on the surface. That's what they're coming for, and I think underneath it, generally the common thread that I find is that people are coming because they've reached a point in their life where there's something more that they're trying to find from their life. We're trying to develop in their life. And this is sometimes and often the first stop for people in better eating, or introducing their friends and family to better eating, or to starting a new track in their life in terms of like making this to sell to people. Or I have nutritionists come to me and say, I want to implement this in my line of like what I do for my work. I want to implement this and teach people how to do this and sell it to people. So I get lots of different types of people.
Because somebody is like, oh, they come to realize that how you care for your body and what you put into it. I mean, these are deeply spiritual issues because everything is spiritual.
Yeah.
That's a good name. But for many people, that means deprivation. Look at all the things I enjoy that I will have to leave behind. Mm-hmm. But I get the sense from your work that part of the power of what you do is in the exact moment when people are most like, oh, if I start taking better care of myself because I'm this integrated being, I'm going to have to leave all of this behind. And you're like, oh, actually, no.
It's interesting that you use the word deprivation because the opposite of that is nourishment. And what I find that people come to me for is because they are deeply unnourished. I think that a lot of us are deeply unnourished.
In what sense?
In all sense. And I mean, a nourishment on the surface, I think for people is food. You think of nourishment, you think of, okay, what kind of vitamins and minerals do I need to get in my body to feel nourished? But nourishment is like, if you think of yourself in the womb when you were a baby, and what you're getting from your mother isn't just the nutrients and vitamins, minerals. You're getting her energy, you're getting all of her feelings, you're getting everything. So it's throughout your entire life, nourishment is what we surround ourselves with in terms of the people that we spend time with and the support networks that we create for ourselves, and that all supports and nourishes us. It's all a matter of, it's all self-love, it's all taking care of ourselves. But I think where people start on that track is food, because it's the most obvious place for nourishment. It's like you were breastfed as a child and that's nourishment. That's what people think of as nourishment. And then this I think raw vegan sort of sector opens people up, or any kind of diet that you start going down the route on that's more natural, starts you down the line of like, well, what is nourishment in my life? How do I nourish myself? How do I take care of myself? As an adult, especially, because I don't have my parents to take care of me anymore. Mm-hmm. So what do I do to nourish myself so that I always feel taken care of?
Wow. I was thinking about like going way back, like in Jewish culture, they talk about every table is an altar. Mm. That the holiness and the sacred nurturing of life and nourishment starts in the home at the table with food, which is the most visceral gift from the earth, from the divine, that like allows you even to make it through the rest of the day. Okay, now let's go back to the gas station chocolates. So you have what do you call those? I remember the first time I ate at your place in London, you made something. You were like, "Oh, please, it's like confectionery or something."
Yeah, it's confectionery. It's I mean,
Flavored sugar.
it's flavored sugar. It's a candy bar. I mean, it's a candy bar.
And so what is this? What you're doing?
Fat and sugar.
And you had made me these custom chocolate bars,
Oh yeah,
which I had eaten by the time I got to customs.
fantastic.
When I left London,
Yeah.
they didn't even make it to customs. What do you make chocolate out of?
I do it from everything. So I go from, I mean, if we want to go really ground level here, so for people who
Yes.
don't know, you know where it comes
Yes.
from. So chocolate starts as a fruit that's like a football that grows off of trees in places like Mexico, Africa, tropical climates.
Chocolate is classified as a fruit?
It's classified as a seed. It's the seed of a fruit.
Did you know this, Kristen Bell? Kristen Bell is
Bell.
also here in the Bell family kitchen. Chocolate begins as a seed of a fruit,
Yeah.
the size of a football.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a tree?
I haven't been on a tree.
I
but
sound
yes,
like
on a
somebody
tree.
who landed from another planet and is like oxygen in your lungs. Have you ever,
Yes.
have you been to like a chocolate farm?
No, but I will. When I go to Australia, I'm going to go.
And so it starts as like a football-sized thing.
Yep.
Then what happens?
So in that state, you cut it open, and then inside is cocoa beans, cocoa pods, cacao pods, beans, and they're
Wait,
surrounded.
did you say cacao or cocoa?
It's cocoa in the raw industry. Cocoa is cooked, and cacao is raw.
Oh my
She
word,
knows it.
Kristen and I have had this
thumbs up.
ongoing
Oh, right.
discussion about how it's
Who was
pronounced.
right?
I'm always like, cacao, just because I like adding an extra syllable in there.
You were wrong again. That's the second time today.
Oh my word. Okay, so cacao
Cacao. There you go.
is uncooked.
Correct.
So then we start there, okay?
We start there. Now there are disputes about if it's really uncooked or not. But if it's really raw, but that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Like in the chocolatiering community, there are different sides. There's
yeah,
like
raw
liberals,
chocolate
conservatives, or how does it work?
Raw chocolate's quite controversial. Like people who own chocolate companies are very skeptical about the whole raw thing. There are apparently only two companies that make really raw chocolate. That the chocolate from start to finish is never heated above 42 degrees. Because at some point in the process, so let's just take a step back for a second. So you take the fruit off the tree, you take the seeds out of the pod, out of the cacao pod, and then those go one of two ways. If it's going to be raw, they get dried, and then the skin gets taken off because there's like a little skin that gets formed, and then you get the cacao bean without the skin, and then from there you can make chocolate from it. You grind it up, yada yada. Let's just go back again for a second.
Mm-hmm.
In cooked, they take the seeds out of the fruit and then they're fermented. During a fermentation process, it naturally heats up, and it heats up over 55 degrees. Sorry, this is Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever, who cares? So it heats up regardless. So it heats up when it ferments, but the reason for the fermentation process is the development of flavors and a flavor profile in the cocoa when it's cooked, and then it gets roasted, which is another development of the flavor profile in the chocolate. So in raw, it's they'll ferment the beans and then they heat. So it's kind of like this sensitive sort of issue depending on who you talk to.
Got it. So when it arrives at your kitchen school in London, you are buying what?
I'm buying I buy paste, which is, have you ever gotten cooking chocolate? 100% chocolate, cooking chocolate. Yeah. That's basically like cacao paste.
Because when I was a kid, my mom had that for cooking.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way, we have candy. And I took a bite and was like, ugh.
That's the worst candy ever.
It's the worst thing. That's like a cruel mom prank.
It's a cruel joke, yeah. Correct.
So
Because it's just 100% chocolate. There's no sweetener in it. That's why. It's very bitter.
And then so it arrives in chunks?
Yeah.
I picture like gold bars, or what's it arrive?
You can picture that. That's fine.
Okay.
Sure.
And it arrives, and then what do you do with it?
I shave it down with a knife, and I either use a stone grinder, which is they can't see my hands. It's a little it's a little machine that turns it up and grinds it over a long period of time. Or I use my blender. So in classes, I use a blender because it's fast. I can show people à la minute right then about how to do it. A stone grinder takes 24 to 100 hours to grind the chocolate. So chocolate that you buy in the shop isn't just made boom, boom. It's ground. Like the higher quality of the chocolate, the longer it's ground in a stone grinder or a grinding machine of some type. It's 100 hours, 120 hours it's ground for.
And then what gets added to it?
Well, it depends, depends on the chocolate. If it's a dark chocolate, it's sugar and then possibly a little butter, cocoa butter. And then it depends on the company. They'll add emulsifiers to it, which is a whole other story we won't go into right now. And then if it's milk chocolate, they add the same stuff and then some dairy, milk powder, cream.
But the stuff you made me had like...
That was Boss. That was stone ground chocolate.
Yeah?
That I made from Scrizatch.
Wait, scratch.
That's it.
Scrizatch.
Yeah. The
That's
Scrizzle.
much better than scratch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And then what did...
And I think yours was a combo platter. It was dark stone ground chocolate, and it was like this milky caramelly kind of chocolate, and I mixed those two together. And then I made, because you like peanuts and peanut, I did like a play on peanut butter and jelly, and I did like a little brittle that I made with peanuts and freeze dried strawberries.
And it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Christmas was coffee. No dairy. No. I don't use dairy. And I don't use... The sugars that I use are like coconut sugar or xylitol. But generally, it's just coconut sugar.
Okay, what is the most common surprise or comment that you get from people who come to learn from you? What are themes that you pick up on that people again and again are like, I didn't think it would be like this, or no way?
My family loves it. I had no idea my family was going to love it. I can't believe they love it. Like, they go home and they make the stuff, and they're like, my husband they take stuff home, and they're like, my husband won't eat anything I make. He ate this. He loved it.
Oh, because they're the one in their whatever tribe
Pretty
is a
much.
little nuts. Like you're going
A little nuts.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they're the one who's
Yeah.
trying to eat raw, trying to
Yeah.
eat vegan, and
And-
their tribe is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Then they go and learn, and their family's thinking, oh, great, it's going to taste like the backyard.
Correct.
And then they make it, and
Yeah.
their family's like,
Wow.
well, actually, this
How
is
did
great.
you do this? Yeah.
Fascinating. Now, when you made us this meal when I was there last summer,
Yes.
it was all raw,
Yes.
and it was like
not raw. That wasn't a raw meal.
that wasn't a raw meal.
No, that was a Thai meal, I think. Yeah.
It was like fireworks. It was like, how did you grow up? Was food a big deal growing up? Like, where did you pick this up?
I want to say it was, my dad used to take us, and it's on my website actually, my dad used to take us he liked to gamble, / was an addict. And he used to take
really?
us with him to, he's going to hate hearing that. And he would take us to like Atlantic City, and he would take us to Vegas with him. And he was a big dude, so like big player, like, so they would comp him.
whale.
Yeah, he was
as
a whale.
they say.
Well, sort of. Yeah, I guess he was. That's weird to think of him that way. But so they would comp him in like the best restaurants. So we would eat things like, we'd be in one restaurant and they'd be like, you can have anything we want. What do you want? I'd be like, eggplant parmesan. And then they'd get us a chocolate souffle from like down the street, sort of thing. Like they'd make it and they'd bring it over to us. And so we had gourmet food like that. And my dad was always...
Because of your dad's gambling.
Yeah, that. But then when we were like, he's always after like the best. Like my brother and I joke, he'll come over to Copenhagen and my brother will be like, we found a great rib place, you're going to love it. And we'll know that he's going to say, but it's not like Tony's in New York City. Like he's got his places that he will only go to those places. But in terms of like, but now he won't eat anything I make. Like he's very picky. Like he's a steak and potato dude. Like if he could eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he would. Like, so it's very odd. I don't know where it came from. I mean, culinary school was like, it saved my life, I'm pretty sure. Like I was on not a very good track in life. And then when I went to culinary school...
Why did you go to culinary school?
I went to culinary school in high school. So it was it was like Votech school, which I don't know if you have like out in California.
Yeah, like a vocational
Yeah,
technology.
but it's part of high school. So you'd go half day to high school and you go half day to a vocational school. And we went on a tour to the school one day just to see if I wanted to go, kind of thing, because I was in like emotional support learning classes. And so we went to the tech school, and the first stop was the kitchen. And it was everybody basically that looked like they were in pajamas, sat up on counters, shooting the shit, being whatever. And I was like, this place, this
No
is
way.
where, yeah,
How old
this
were
is
you?
what I'm going to do. 16.
Okay, this is so interesting to me how many people in their teens, there was some tractor beam magnetic pull to something in its most like raw, undiluted form. You walked in and thought, this is my thing.
This is my thing because these are my people. Like, you're wearing pajamas, sitting on a countertop, shooting the shit with your teacher who went to like one of the best culinary schools in America. And yeah, I'm cool to hang here for a while. Like, you smoke, you drink, you do drugs, I'll hang here for a while.
And did you know right away I can make food that tastes good?
No, I was learning like I was just teaching you knife skills. I didn't know how to hold a knife.
So in my incompetence, you were reminded of your earliest self.
Exactly. I remember learning in school how to cut. I remember making cream and mushroom soup like nobody's business. Like, soups were like magic pots to me. Like, I loved it. My teacher would always put me on soups with people. But it took me a really long time to find my feet with cooking. Like, it wasn't just a natural fall into it kind of thing. It took me a while to learn how to really understand it.
That's fascinating to me. You knew this is where I belong, but the actual skills were just 10,000 hours of hard work.
Oh, totally. For sure.
And how did you end up? How do you build a name in raw chocolatiering to where people are flying in from all over the world to your flat
Honestly,
in London?
I don't do much. I haven't done much. It's the weirdest
Okay,
thing.
wait. Because everybody now, it's like, well, you got to build a platform, you got to have social
I
media
know.
channels, you
No,
got to have.
trust me. My dad, when it was build your brand, I told him, I said I'm going to go to Rob's now. Okay, build your brand. Like, I'm gonna have a conversation. I'm not going to build my brand. Like, it's weird when I think back over the totality of my journey to get to where I am today. I didn't do much. I feel like when you're on the right path, life gives you what you need. It's just constantly giving you what you need, whether it's what you want or not. You're always getting what you need. So it was just kind of, it refined. Like I was telling Kristen, it was like I worked with a chef who was like, no, you do raw chocolate really well. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And he's like, no, you got this. Chad Sarno. And
Shout out to
desserts.
Chad.
Shout out to Chad. Whoa. And he pushed me where I'd make a dessert and he'd go, it's phenomenal. I think you could do better. And then it would just be like, okay, let me refine this. And so it was over the course of a year working for him in London that I got into desserts and chocolate because he put me there. He just put me there. And then when I left there, I went to be a personal chef for a woman in the country. And that's when I was bored because I was only working 15 hours a week from like 90 in a restaurant in London. And I was like, I got to do something. I feel like I'm retiring. So somebody contacted me and was like, I want to make chocolate. Will you teach me how? And I was like, it's going to be like 300 pounds if you want a private one-to-one. And she's
That's
like, well,
a monetary figure, not weight.
yeah. And then, and she said, if we get more people involved, can you lower the price? And I said, sure. So we got 3 people for the first class. And then I didn't advertise. I never advertised. I had this crappy Weebly website. And
Weebly?
yeah, it was old school Weebly. Built this really crappy website. I wasn't even giving anything out for free at the time. Like now it's like newsletters, subscriptions, free recipes, whatever. Not at all. It just rolled over one class to the next and just built and built and built. And I never have an empty class. And I don't do anything.
What's the most enjoyable part about it for you?
There's a lot. When people fly over, I think there's this one time, because I have online programs now too. I have a whole online course. So people will do that, and then they come over, and then I open the door, and they're like, I can't believe it's you. And I said, but you did book on my course, yeah? Yeah, but I didn't think you'd answer your own door. I was like, right, okay, coming in. It's like a shock, like a star shock, but it's like because I've heavily impacted their life in some way, where they have done what they've done because they've felt inspired by me somehow, by me just living my life. Like, I'm not doing anything, I'm just living my life. And they're just totally inspired by it.
What's that like for you?
It's, I don't know how to feel it. Like, it's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Yeah.
Wow. What so what are give me a couple of the foods that a lot of people are eating that if they would cut those out, it would be way better.
Well, I'll start by saying something that I learned in nutrition school that I loved, which is it's better to add than to take away.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if we're talking about adding foods, it's fresh fruits, vegetables staying to the outside of the supermarket. Because that's
The
where all the fresh
walls.
stuff
I
staying
never
to the
thought about
walls.
it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Stay to the outsides. Yeah,
Yeah.
once I started making cashew cheese in the Vitamix.
Look at you with your cashew cheese.
Come on.
What?
But once I started making this one particular, which was in the Rich and Julie Roll Plant Power book, that was like, this is the best cheese I've had. So it was literally, that's what has helped me always. Because if you start making a list of what you can't have,
Yeah.
your brain just goes crazy. But if it's like,
Absolutely,
but
yeah.
we could make this.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I said it's better to focus on the things that you can have and have a lot of that.
So which I think is, I mean, that is the thing, is we are lured and seduced and wooed into a better life, in which you leave these things behind, as opposed to here's what I have to deprive myself of, and then it's
Yeah.
just you against the willpower,
Yeah, absolutely.
which I'll probably fail, unless it's like, oh, but I could do this.
And also not beating yourself up. Like you're adding stuff to your diet. Don't worry about the stuff that's still there. And over time, it's just gonna fall to the side. But it's really just taking time and giving yourself the time to allow your mind to adjust to a new way of eating. Like I think reading labels is a huge thing. I know people still don't read labels.
Michael Pollan's books on eating really helped me. He had that whole thing about don't eat anything that has ingredients in it that your grandmother wouldn't recognize.
Absolutely. Or that you can't pronounce.
You can't pronounce. And then he has another thing, don't eat anything that has tons of ingredients.
Yeah.
Like it only needs a few ingredients
Yeah.
to make it whatever it is.
Yeah. Like bread should be. He's the one that did the series on Fire, Water, Earth on Netflix, I think.
Oh, did he?
I think so.
That sounds about right.
And he made a sourdough bread, and he was like, it has 3 ingredients. And if you look up bread in the supermarket, it is a list like
Yeah,
50
xanthan
ingredients.
gum.
Unbelievable.
Sounds like superheroes or something.
Yeah, it's just starting there, I think, is a great place to start. Just reading labels and getting stuff that has the fewest amount of ingredients as possible, and then adding fresh fruit, vegetables.
This is when Kristen and we were in Rome, and we noticed that the Italians, they'd put out like a simple loaf of bread. You'd have pasta with a red sauce. There'd be this one glass of red wine. And we would say like, there's like 5 ingredients on the table. But salt, olive oil, and everything. It's actually only a couple of ingredients.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And yet this is the best thing I've ever tasted. So you're the leading raw chocolatier in the world. If we came over to your house, what do you have for breakfast? What do you eat for breakfast on a given day?
This morning I had banana and coconut butter.
And what do you have for lunch?
Salad.
Like what's in this? Like what?
Um,
Iceberg lettuce. Some.
like dark mixed
No.
greens.
Yep.
Nutritional yeast.
Yep.
Balsamic, olive oil. Grated veggies.
And what would you have for dinner?
Some sort of protein and veggies.
What is the food that is going to be the next rage? Because kale had its day in the sun.
Yeah, it did.
Cold pressed juices here in LA having their moment. There's always some version of yogurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
What is the Thai is coming on strong? Maybe a little Vietnamese here and there. What is the next food that we're all going to be like, oh no, dude, I gotta have?
I don't know. You put me, I feel very pressured now.
No worries.
I have no idea. I mean, the only thing trendy-wise that I can foresee is this black latte thing that I saw recently
Black latte.
with like activated charcoal. There's a dude, a barista in Australia, who came up with it after like the matcha latte craze and the golden milk situation with turmeric. That's actually not new. Like it's Ayurvedic and it's hundreds of years old, but whatever. So the black one is apparently sesame seed paste and activated charcoal and milk of some description.
How do you activate charcoal?
Oh, I don't know. It comes activated.
It comes activated.
I don't know a lot about charcoal.
I'm tired of this unactivated charcoal
This dead
clogging
stuff.
my pores. My grandma used to, remember when my grandma used to make unactivated? So we'll have places around here and there'll be like a little show. There'll be like activated charcoal with
I think
black
it'll be,
latte.
yeah, it'll be in the coffee shops. It'll be on Pinterest. It'll be Instagrammed. I'm going to do one, obviously. Has to be done.
You're going to do what?
I'm going to have to do a black latte. It's just going to be, I'm going to have to Amy it up somehow. I'm not sure what it's going to be like just yet.
How often do you eat like in a restaurant or you hear about what some other chef is doing and think, oh, I could do that, but I would
Do it better.
riff better. Yeah.
I mean, I guess anytime I adapt a recipe, I suppose. So like I'll look on Pinterest or I'll look online or I'll go to a place and see something dessert-wise and think, oh, I could do that raw. That'd be amazing. If I do that, ooh, that'd be cool. So I get inspired by other chefs, but then I do my own thing. I do it raw. I don't eat out very often because I find it disappointing.
Oh, really? Even like a 3 Michelin star, like the latest Buzzy's
That's
restaurant?
the worst. I can't deal with Michelin star
No way.
places. Yeah.
So the restaurants that people are like, dude, we got a reservation for 9 years from now
Yeah.
for 5 a.m. on a Tuesday in February.
Got it.
Because that place,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, please, don't even waste my time.
No, it's not. Don't waste my time. It's just like, I mean, talk about ingredients. That's a lot of stuff. Usually it's like a long tasting menu, and it's just I find there's so many ingredients. I feel sick by the end of it.
Really?
Yeah, I probably only have about 20 ingredients in my daily diet. Like I don't eat a great amount of stuff, so I'm quite sensitive.
Fascinating. Now, people. Oh, by the way, are we gonna make some cookies after this?
I thought we'd do it after the podcast.
Oh, nice, ladies and gentlemen. I just got really excited. Are we gonna cook these cookies, or are they?
Yeah, because you don't have a dehydrator, so we're gonna have to do cooked stuff.
We're actually gonna have to cook them.
Yeah.
Okay. So if people wanted to take an online course from you, let's build this brand.
Let's do it.
By the way, my first publisher one time said, we want to have a meeting to talk about your brand. And I was like, well, have fun without me. I was like, what do you mean my brand? I was like, I make something, then I'm going to have an idea, and I'm going to make the next stuff. I was like, the brand is, this guy makes stuff. And he doesn't know what's coming next. He has a bunch of ideas, and one of them,
He must
like,
have
it was such
loved
a
you.
surreal sort
Yeah.
of, like, my brand.
It's so conceived. I don't like it.
So let's talk about your brand. People can take online courses from you.
Yes, I have online courses.
Like what would they learn? What would they learn in an online course from you?
I have a 4-level raw chocolate course that starts from the very fundamentals to more advanced content. I did with a guy named Russell James who has a website called The Raw Chef. It's in conjunction with him that course, one on fermentation, raw fermentation, like cheeses, sauerkraut, salsas, kombucha, water, kefir, things like that. And
How to make kombucha? Teach people how to make kombucha?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then
And then the last one is a desserts program. So he has one, Desserts at Home, I think it's called. And I did like a segment, like a large segment of that program as well.
wow. Okay, can I pitch you an idea?
Yeah, please.
Let's do a class on tacos.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Like me and you, like we're gonna do that
Oh yeah, wouldn't it be great?
with your newfound skills.
I would be like your MC. And I'd be like, wait till you taste this. I would like try it and then tell people watching at home, oh,
This is the best.
wait till you
This
taste
is what's up.
this.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then where do people find you if they want to come to London?
Well, you can go on my website and find me at amylevin.co.uk.
AmyLevin, LEVIN.co.uk.
Correct. Somebody has .com and they want $50,000 for it. It's not going to happen.
Oh my word.
I know.
AmyLevin.com.
Yeah, so if you're listening, I would like that for free.
Hey, Amy Levin, we're coming for you. Other Amy Levin. Evil Amy. Possessive AmyLevin.com. This Amy Levin. And she's the #1 raw chocolatier, so she wins. Do not tangle with this woman.
So that's where you can find me online. And then if you come to London, you can, I'm in Oval, which is just near Brixton, South London.
And they can take a class and they can...
Take a class, go on my site, book a class, shoot me an email, have a little conversation. I do privates, I do bespoke classes as well. So
somebody can come to you and say, help me with X or Y, and you, okay.
I'm like, cool, let's outline that and come on over and let's do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you've so inspired me. That thing that we just made, those doll pancakes.
Yes. Fantastic.
It's like opened up my, I
I
got
knew
all
you were
sorts of
gonna love
ideas I
that.
want to try with those.
Absolutely.
You knew I'd love that.
I knew you'd love that one because it's versatile. And it's a pancake. Who doesn't love pancake? No one in
Right.
the room. Everybody in the room likes pancake.
But that's a red lentil onion pancake, which is like that's just like,
Yeah, but Homeboy had it with maple syrup.
yeah, he did kind of mix that up, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he mixed and matched a lot. He made it a breakfast food. He was
Yes.
brunching it.
We have a friend visiting who's like, I could do that. Like, that's got onions and red lentils. I'll put syrup on that.
Just because we mentioned maple syrup 10 minutes prior, I'm pretty
You
sure
couldn't
that's why
stop
that
thinking
happened.
about
That's right.
maple syrup. And okay, and are there any books that you recommend to people?
How to Be Here.
Oh,
What is the Bible? The new one coming out. Life is God or something like that. Elvis something.
that is good. That is funny. That is good. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on the RobCast. You're very, very inspiring to me, and I think you are. I think what happened in the modern world with the invention of machines is you had the lever, the pulley, the button, and the way that you build complicated, fantastic machines is you break reality down into its smallest parts. So we have been swimming for 300 years in this scientific movement, which has been fantastic. Hospitals, airplanes, 10,000 songs in our pockets. But it also, its specialty is it takes things apart in order to understand how to build things. But then what happens is you have lots of people who the integration, it's parts, not wholes. And obviously what you're seeing and what I'm seeing is this growing awareness that we are this seamless unity related to everything else, and that what you eat and your spirit and how you see the world are all one giant, beautiful, highly calibrated hairball. You know what I mean? And I see more people realizing, oh, when I consciously take better care of myself and eat things that are closer to how they came out of the earth, then all these other areas of my life start to like wake up. And you to me are like an innovator way out front. Because if you can make chocolate good for us, that's heaven crashing into earth right there. I don't need an apocalypse. I just need chocolate that's good for me. And I'm pretty much, we're going to be fine.
I can be your supplier for that. I'll leave you my business card.
So thank you.
Thank
Grace
you.
and peace, my friends.